Hey guys, welcome back to Soul Love. I'm out in the garden. It's June 15th, about 7:47. Just thought I'd take you guys for a quick look in the garden. I was out of town for a whole week. My mom, thank you so much for watering and checking on the garden while we were away. But there were a lot of just awesome things, awesome growth, to be expected in the garden. So, wanted to give you a quick update on how things are going out here. So here's the front or the first bed here in the garden. Right on the side there is where the potatoes are. So those are getting about ready to be harvested. I'm going to do my best to try to let the leaves just get absolutely brown and crunchy before I do any harvesting. I did harvest one bag and got a decent harvest of red potatoes. So we'll do an update on harvesting those. I do plan on succession planting some more, so we'll see how that goes. These beans are pretty much done. There are still some flowers coming up, if you can see on some of those. What I do is try to let at least 2 or 3 of the plants go to seed, especially towards the end of the life, kind of like when they're kind of getting to the end, not letting off as many blooms. So 2 of these plants, I'm just going to let go to seed. And all that is I'm going to leave the beans on the plant, allow them to mature, get nice and brown and crunchy, and harvest the seeds. These are some things that came out of the compost bin. Honestly, I just stuck them in a pot. I'm not exactly sure what kind of squash they are. So I'll keep you posted on that. These are some more beans that obviously are, kind of sick. These are dragon tongue actually, but I'm trying to wait to pull them out because I really want to collect the seed pods. So I may come in and prune real good, and then collect just let them sit on the plant to dry for seed pods because I think I'm kind of low on dragon tongue bush beans. My poppies have taken forever to flower, so I'm excited to see some buds on the poppies. These are 2 black-eyed Susan vines, and honestly, they're not looking that great. Looks like maybe some kind of leaf curl fungus on them, so I might actually cut those all the way down, move them into another area. It's my first year having those. I did plant some cucamelons to go up this trellis also. So I'll do an update on, when I cut those back and move them, but I'm not liking, how they're looking. Wonder if these are seed pods coming in or if those are flowers. I do some research on that and see what those are. Slowly turning around, 2 tomato plants here, and you can see I kind of double stacked the traditional tomato cages just to make this super tall to give this some support. These are, I believe, Beefmaster tomatoes, I think, and maybe a beefsteak. So those should get pretty big. There is some fruit coming in. Did want to show you just some tomatoes that I'm excited about. Those are actually coming in really nicely. I don't know the what they are off top. I know this one is like the Alberta peach tomato. I'm not exactly sure what those are. I planted some more later on in the season just to get a longer, harvest time. I know that's aroma, but lots and lots of fruit setting on these tomatoes, which I'm really, really excited about. And we still have some blooms. So what I'll do is just come out when I'm walking and just gotta shake, the blooms just to make sure pollination is going on. Just in case you're not sure or don't know, tomato plants, the flowers have the male and the female. So if all you have to do is just come around, let me get to a bloom here. All you have to do is just tap it And what I'll sometimes do is honestly just shake the bush gently just to make sure that the pollination is taking place. Walking over to the first two tomatoes that are blushing. These are Defiant tomatoes, which I've never grown before, so I'm curious to see what the fruit will be like on those. But those are the first two tomatoes to blush, so I'm very excited about that. Update on one of the drawers. You can see I planted some carrots here in the front, some type of squash, zucchinis here. There's a Malabar spinach there, nasturtium, some beets in the back. So that's fully planted. I'll point out the other ones as I go. My peppers this year are not doing the best. These are actually all peppers that I bought. My pepper seeds didn't do that well for me this year, so I do need to come out and just do some pruning of these leaves. But my peppers are struggling this year. Normally, my peppers that I grow are from seeds, and I have a lot better success, or a lot more success with those. So I'll keep you posted. I have been giving them fish emulsion just because I know they like nitrogen. Maybe they don't like beets. I need to look up and see, maybe that's the beets that they don't like growing with them, but they're not doing the best. We did harvest some banana peppers off of this one. My mom did while we were gone, and I think we harvested one. Wanted to point out these little grow towers from Dollar Tree are doing really well with the herbs. Last year I had strawberries growing in them, and it was just a lot to keep them watered. They suffered a lot. The strawberries did anyway, so I'm glad to see that the herbs are liking these little towers. We planted, me and my kids planted some beets. I had lettuce growing in here, but you can see more beets coming up there, some chard. So we'll see how that grows. This is the one pepper I have out here, which is a shishito. It looked a lot better yesterday. When we really like shishito peppers. So hopefully that looks a little bit better in a few days. But I'll keep you posted. Another one of the little towers, I put some nasturtium in, parsley in both of those. We had lettuce growing, which of course has, it's getting too hot to grow most types of lettuce now. The tomatillos are finally starting to kind of fill out. Last year, I remember taking my tomatillos out because they never set any fruit. And I did have multiple plants growing, but they just never pollinated. So I'm excited to see some actual tomatillos growing this year. This is a new clematis. Actually, no, I bought this last year. This is the first year I'm seeing it bloom. Trying to slowly turn around so I don't make you guys dizzy. I have some more tomatoes growing in these pots and just in random places around the garden. The grow towers are doing really, really well. I've done some succession planting of beans in these grow towers just to extend that harvest a little bit more. One thing I would like to do this year is to allow the dill just to go to seed and just kind of self-seed like weeds throughout the garden. Like this is a beautiful, beautiful bloom. I think this is the bouquet dill. So, and then the butterflies, I believe the monarchs in particularly, and the swallowtails really like dill. So I'd like that just to kind of get real prolific out here and grow as it pleases. So I'm letting that go to seed, experimenting with growing an eggplant in the grow tower, which I thought was interesting to see two new shoots let off there at the bottom by this one plant. So I'm going to do a little research and see if I can actually, if I cut these off, will they make new plants, or should I just leave it there? So I'll do some research. I didn't know eggplant grew like that. I've only seen it grow, one stalk. So I'll do some research on that. I forgot that I put a Malabar spinach in there, so that's a pleasant surprise. Calendula, that's another thing I just want to let kind of grow wild out here, so I'm letting that for the most part go to seed as well. More beans, strawberries. Strawberries over here are going wild. Stay tuned for a video on how I'm going to propagate all these. I bought some things today that I'm going to experiment with, just because growing them vertically makes it hard to stick these little runners in soil. So I have an idea in terms of almost like an air lay type of thing. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes in a video. But the strawberries are going absolutely wild, which is a great thing. I'm going to share some with some family, possibly a neighbor, and then figure out another spot for a strawberry patch in ground. More runners back there also. These were for the most part mostly new plants. I had some that I brought with me, of course, from my old house, but a lot of them didn't survive that winter. So we will, it's pretty cool. I'll keep you posted on, what I'm going to do in terms of just propagating. But what I was going to say is my goal this year was to get more strawberry plants, not necessarily strawberries. So that's why I didn't worry about the runners. So turning around here, I have a lot of mint. All my mint is in pots, just because I hear horror stories about it taking over your garden. So I random mint in some pots around the garden. These are actually carrot flowers right here. Letting those go to seed just because I love, love, love the blooms. It almost reminds me of like something you'd see on the countryside. These are that flowering carrot. It was actually like a purplish, let's see if I can find a better one, like that color there. So these are not edible, but just a flowering carrot variety. So I thought these were beautiful. Brought that from my yard, or from my old garden as well. I think these are Queen of Manalco tomatillos right here. But more tomatillos coming up. I have some beans and lots of onions. I believe these are just spring onions right there. There's another update on one of the drawers, which again, I have squash, zinnia, beets, carrots in the middle, which germination was okay. We've had a lot of rain, so it's kind of maybe done a number on the carrots. And then I'm not sure exactly what that is up there in the front, but there are nasturtiums in there as well, and some beans coming up. Okay, let's keep moving. Here's the zucchini, which I have planted some more zucchini and squash seeds, just because my luck with that what is that, the nemesis of everybody's garden, that burrows in the stem. I know I've seen some eggs. I have not seen it yet. The vine borer, the squash vine borer, I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's coming because I have squash. So I have planted some more seeds, started some more seeds, just to make sure I have some harvest throughout the year. My Trump Encino squash that I usually grow has not done that well in terms of germination this year. So I'm trying to get one more round, and hopefully that takes. But I haven't had luck getting that to germinate this year. I have some more cucumbers coming in right here and here. Lots of cucumbers on that vine, and there's more little ones up there, so that's awesome. Lots of sunflowers finally showing their face in the garden. I love, love, love sunflowers. 2 tomatoes right here. If you've followed me or been with me for, since I started, you know that I like to pack a bed. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. I do need to do some harvesting and cleaning up of the leaves of some of these kale plants. But overall, things are going all right. Slowly trying to turn around here. This is the file cabinet. The base, you know, the body of the cabinet here. Finally got to plant the sweet potatoes in there. I have some beans growing in there as well, just for some extra nitrogen, as nitrogen to support, you know, the foliage of the sweet potatoes growing. Some nasturtium kind of tucked into the corners, and then I think I have some beets over there. This is the strawberry spinach. So I'm excited to see that finally getting big. I had some squirrels and or chipmunks growing in my garden, so I'm, you know, whenever you see this wire, chicken wire, that just means I'm trying to protect what we grow. I wanted to show you the first sunflower that's opened up here. Isn't that beautiful? Sunflowers are also a really great trap crop for leaf-footed bugs and just a few other things, but I know mainly they love to get on the sunflowers. I just spotted a pest, so I'm gonna go get this jar. I keep this jar full of soap, which it will start to stink and get gross. But FYI, try not to squish these pests. Like, that's definitely not a ladybug, that's a cucumber beetle, I believe. And what it does is chews your leaves like that, especially on your squash plants. So if you squish it, it will let out a scent to kind of pull or alert other bugs to come. Oh, look, there's a squash plant here, you know, kind of thing. So try your best not to squish it, but knock it into some soapy water. So that's what I'm about to do. All right, I know you can't see it in there, but I did get it in there. You can see there was a Japanese butt beetle on the other side. I want to also show you why there are leaves in here on the underside of these. I don't know if y'all can see what these are. If y'all know what these bugs are, I know they're not good. But if you know what these bugs are, please let me know in the comments. I'm about to put this in the soapy water as well. There's the cucumber beetle. I don't know if you can see it moving down, but I did put the leaf in, just the whole leaf. Just burn it up. So try to check the undersides of your leaves. I know yesterday I found some yellow eggs on the bottom or on the underside of one of my leaves. So just be mindful, y'all. Be alert, be aware. This looks like the first signs of powdery mildew coming into the garden. So we've had a lot of rain these past couple days. Hasn't been the sunniest also, so it kind of sets a great environment for powdery mildew to take place. So that's another reason why I went on and started some more squash seeds. Let me check out this leaf right here. See those little things? If y'all know what those are, please let me know. I'm gonna look up common pests in the garden that love sunflowers this evening. Okay, so let's head to the outside of the garden. Stop and show you the borage on our way out. Lots of really cool things, y'all. There's so many more things I could tell you in here, but I'm trying not to make the video too long. Quick look into the hoop house. These are the trays of squash that I started yesterday. I think I started squash, and so there was something else I started. Can't quite remember right now. All right, so these are those Jerusalem artichokes. If you saw my video where I built the trellis, the cucumbers are kind of trailing out. I hate that they're getting covered with sand and dirt along the way, but the plan is working. Just gonna have some sacrifices towards the bottom tomato plant and basil. Definitely need to do a harvest. You can see the poppy starting to come in. 2 orange trees. Mainly, I think these are watermelon radish in here coming up, and Chinese red meat radish. Those actually get kind of big and they take a little bit longer to grow. But I have been harvesting the leaves for green powder, and that's been working pretty well. More cucumbers. This basil here is struggling. Let's go ahead and do a quick prune of it here. Whenever you see these like damaged leaves on your plant, go ahead and try to remove that. Probably need to take this quite down, or down quite a bit. But try to remove those, just because that's sucking energy away from your plant. What it's trying to do is heal, the damaged leaves, as opposed to promote new growth on your plant. Another cucumber plant here. Take this off here. This cucumber, I want you to go up this way. Nope, not that one. This one over here has some cucumbers that I actually need to harvest. I harvested one yesterday for a snack. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on that particular plant, and I don't think I have it labeled, but that's going well. I have an Armenian cucumber coming in. Oh wow, it's a different one. Okay, I didn't even know that. It looks like some type of English cucumber. There should have been an Armenian cucumber on one of these. Maybe it's another one. Okay. Or maybe it didn't pollinate well. Okay, so cucumbers coming in there. I have my first ever fig coming in. The New Orleans gardener, T-Nog, I share your delight in seeing the first fig. I know you're getting lots of harvest right now on yours, but I understand, I relate to the excitement. Another cucumber here that looks like poor pollination or just irregular watering, where you get those balloon effects. More basil and tomatoes coming in, goji berries, cherry tree. This is a random Jerusalem artichoke that was stuck in that plant or pot. We have a fairly large 8-ball zucchini right there, which I'm going to do a quick harvest of this evening. I don't think there are any more figs coming in. That would be awesome if there were. Another poppy. It's about to do her thing. More tomatoes coming in. I know I planted randomly some squash. Not exactly sure what those are. These are beautiful, beautiful. What is the purple bean? I can't think of the name right now. But I don't eat these. They're technically poisonous if you eat them raw. But they're just a beautiful ornamental bean in my garden. A hyacinth bean, that's what it's called. So I want these to just grow and kind of create like a nice, border along the fence line. Going down to this pot here. This was actually the first zinnia that bloomed out here, and then I have some more coming in as well. This was mostly radish in here. I think there's a pomegranate right there and the lavender planted. I'm letting the radish go to seed, just because the blooms are really pretty, and then I do want to collect the radish, the seeds as well, just to keep them planted randomly throughout the garden. More radish that are going to seed here. This is, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this part of the bed. This is the rhubarb, which I love, love, love having there. These are just random things. So there's radish. I put the radish down to experiment with, to see how they would grow in a mostly clay, just to kind of help break up the soil. So that went well. I planted some seeds, some flowers in here. This is milkweed. There's echinacea over here. My daughter wanted to plant some corn, so this is one of her corn beds. There's another one on the other side. I randomly put in some squash and some beans, just to kind of experiment with the Three Sisters garden. So we'll see how that goes. This is my first year experimenting with that. There are some flowers planted throughout. Really excited about these right here. I'll do an update on that. But in the grow bags, there's some squash, which this is actually my favorite type of squash. I can't think of the name right now, but it almost looks like a flying saucer. This is my first year growing the yellow variety though, so I'm excited about that. I normally grow the white. And then we have some watermelons over here that are taking their sweet, sweet time to grow. But they're finally trying to start doing a little bit of something. I've been putting the fish emulsion on those. Some other squash plants that are not doing that great. Whenever you see this on your leaves, check the underside, and just check your plant. Oh, there it is right there. So I'll go get my jar and flick him in. But definitely, y'all, inspect your plants. I did pick off some eggs from one of these plants a few days ago. I think this is that red curry coming in, which if that grows, y'all, I will be so excited. I've been trying to grow that for years. More squash back here. You can see the delicata. Looks like it did not get pollinated well. So I don't know. I struggle with winter squashes, growing winter squashes anyway. We'll see how it goes. Another tomato plant back here. And then this is actually also where the fruit trees are. So this is either a nectarine or a peach right here. This died, as you can see back, and there's new growth coming up, which I think that's another one of the, either a peach or nectarine coming up. This is a cherry tree, which looks like it's doing pretty good with the growth. That's a pineapple guava. That's the apple, Red Delicious apple. That's a mulberry, which it's the mulberry tree where the mulberries get really, really long. And then another fig right here. And then this is the dead pear tree, which I do have a replacement for from a cutting that I did last year. I shared one with my brother, so I'm going to plant the other one here. These are the blackberries. But yeah, I did get to taste some of these. They tasted awesome. My mom got to taste some, but I pretty much just let the birds have them. I didn't worry about covering them this year. I am looking for some ideas in terms of what to better do with these blueberries, just because I know they can't stay in these grow bags forever. It's not really working out well for them. So what I may end up doing is getting another raised bed just for them and let them take over that raised bed, because I know blueberries can really just take over an area, and I'd rather not, be competing with snakes and things like that for my blueberries. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes. Comfrey, growing like a true queen here. I think I have it in 4 or 5 places along here. I did a chop and drop update on how quickly comfrey leaves grow back. If you're not growing comfrey, y'all, definitely add it into your garden. These are also blueberries, and then the asparagus going right behind the blueberries. So we didn't get any blueberries this year. I think it just had a lot to do with transplant shock, but they're growing pretty healthy. I'm going to look into propagating some of the plants also, just to add some more plants into the garden. But yeah, that's an update on the orchard. And then I wanted to show you the other little corn patch right here. These are both the same variety. It's a hybrid variety, just some random seeds. I don't really have luck growing corn either. Not the best of luck. I have kind of so-so luck. So we'll see just how it goes. Experimenting with the Three Sisters garden in this bed as well. But I have walking onions all along here, which I'm definitely going to come up with another idea for those. And then I did a yarrow hedge this year, and that's growing really, really nicely. So I just wanted to give you a quick kind of glimpse at the garden and how it's looking here. I'm trying to see if it will focus for me. Here we go. All right, so a quick glimpse at the garden. Lots of beans I'm looking at. Those are the scarlet runner beans. But if you saw my previous video of like the first week of June, here we are, week 3 pretty much of June. You can see there's been lots of growth out here, which, you know, a gardener can only be pleased with. Some challenges, you know, of course, to be expected, but overall things are going pretty good. Also wanted to show you the compost area back here. These I really plan on just filling up with leaves to get some leaf mold growing or going over this winter. But right behind or right next to the hoop house, these are all my compost bins, which I have been using my compost actively and, you know, adding into those bins. The leaf mold has to sit for, I think I saw one guy, his sat for like a year. Sometimes it could be 6 months. But all it is just leaves that you just let pile up, and it turns into black gold, you know, for your garden. So I'll let you know how that goes. But we have a lot of oak trees, and I just need to do some raking, get the kids out here, and just get these piled up. Like this was actually piled up to here, and it's decreased down to a little less than half. So it is working. I'm curious to see after a few months if I dig down into the bottom what that's going to look like. I was told that it does work a little bit faster if you mulch the leaves, but you know, I wasn't too stressed about it. I wasn't planning on you know, using it this year necessarily anyway. What I'd like to do is kind of top the beds this winter, or possibly I guess before next spring with that leaf mold. So definitely stay tuned for that. Still have the bokashi bins going, so I'll do an update on that as well. Here's another look from the outside of the garden of the potatoes. I'm so excited to do a potato harvest with you guys. That's like one of the most fun things I like watching, just because you don't know what's growing under there. But for the most part, I did top some with leaves. I topped some with soil and leaves, and then some with like pine straw. So we'll just see how it goes. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you are doing well. Hope your garden is doing well. Drop any questions or comments you have down below. Do also visit me at my Instagram at So Love Garden, where I do a little bit more posting, daily updates and things like that. But I hope all is well. Happy gardening to you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.